this may be the most exciting political convention session in years.
And the dream shall never die.
Who would you trust with your country?
And the next president of the United States.
Before President Trump faces the eventual 2020 Democratic nominee, he's got to fend off primary challengers, fellow Republicans Bill Weld, Joe Walsh, and perhaps the most serious threat, Mark Sanford, who just jumped into the race. Sitting presidents usually get the green light from within their party to run for a second term. Barack Obama, George W. Bush, and Bill Clinton faced no serious primary threats, secured their party's nomination, and went on to beat their general election opponents. But in the last 50 years, when incumbent presidents did face serious primary challengers, each time they lost the White House. In 1974, twin resignations within a 10-month span
Sometimes I have failed.
elevated Gerald Ford from House Minority Leader to President. Ford was not elected into the Oval Office, and his first major act was controversial. He pardoned Richard Nixon. In 1975, Ronald Reagan, having completed his second term as California governor, seemed poised for higher office.
There's an election coming up. Would you like to go to the White House?
I don't think anyone, in view of the things that have gone on the last few years, knows what's going to happen in the next 2 years.
Flash forward 17 months to the Republican National Convention.
Campaign 76. An incumbent president, for the first time since 1912, faces a serious challenge from within his own party.
Ford holds a slim majority of delegates. A fight down to the wire.
And we're really being shoved around.
But ultimately, Ford wins the nomination.
It was a good fight, Mom, and he won.
A few months later, though, Ford loses the general election to Democrat and former Georgia Governor Jimmy Carter.
Never disappoint you.
4 years later, this cycle repeats. President Carter, dogged by a sagging economy and the Iranian hostage crisis, is primaried by Massachusetts Senator Ted Kennedy.
It's good to be with friends here tonight.
Carter makes it to the Democratic National Convention with 60% of the delegates and secures the nomination. But Kennedy had mobilized the left wing of the Democratic Party against Carter.
The work goes on, the cause endures, the hope still lives, and the dream shall never die.
Without the enthusiastic support of Democrats, Carter is no match for a strong return of Ronald Reagan, who absolutely dominated the Electoral College map. In 1992, amid an economic recession, President George H.W. Bush is seeking re-election. Conservative commentator Pat Buchanan jumps in the race, running to his right with a nationalist populist agenda.
Our country's in deep trouble. Make America first again. Make America first again.
Buchanan picks up roughly a quarter of the primary votes, yet he's unable to win any specific contests against Bush. But Bush would go on to lose against Arkansas Governor Bill Clinton. It didn't help that Texas billionaire Ross Perot ran the most successful third-party campaign in the last 100 years. None of these primary challengers were successful in wresting the nomination away from their party's sitting president. But in each instance, their presence signaled a weakness in the candidate and division in the party that ultimately kept each one from winning re-election.